I'm cool. Yeah. But I'm a pretty big open book, so yeah.
Big open book?
I'm a huge open book.
It's like, there's a...
Yeah, like a real Bible, like massive, like.
Oh yeah, that's how much you stored in your brain.
Oh, like that old preaching one at Gymea, like that.
Yeah, and then blow the dust off it. True. Like you've just got like huge library.
Oh,
at the back,
lots of leather-bound books.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Chip Lunch Podcast. I'm excited to have you along with us, whether you're listening or watching. But Brayden, who is joining me here on the Salubrious Lounge.
Salubrious.
I have been...
It's not your turn to talk yet.
No, because I wanted to intro this. This is one I've been waiting for a very long time. Someone I love very much.
Yes.
Not just you.
Oh, okay.
Jarrad, welcome to the podcast.
Yo, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I'm very excited to have you on.
I'm keen.
The Salubrious is from a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? I called it Salubrious, and then Brayden called it Salubrious, which we have a Salubrious background now, too.
I'm wearing a blue shirt.
Yeah.
Way out.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be hard to see on camera.
Yeah, I know, just floating head on the green screen.
Big old red beard, though.
He's just got a big old head.
There's a new addition to the studio. We're slowly upgrading all the times. There's a huge table behind Jarrad.
Yeah.
And that's it looks a bit better than the brick wall at the moment.
It's Craig's
And we got this
dining room
really-
table.
Yeah, can you Jarrad, can you put that on camera for us? That is
I can't believe it didn't come
It's
out
beautiful.
in Sarah's podcast,
Yeah.
this picture.
I know.
Painted it last week. It's
Inspired by.
Yeah, inspired by a stable.
Mm.
So if you are only listening, it's a very beautifully framed picture that we've found here at MCC. It's genuinely painted. You can see it's genuinely painted.
Genuine. See the rust stripes.
There's a horse in a stable with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What breed of dog is that? Do you know what breed of dog that would be?
Spotty one.
It's like a loyal breed.
I feel like
Loyal
we're on
breed of dog.
Antiques Roadshow now.
That is worth...
What is this worth?
500 million pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, what? Oh, I thought it was worth nothing. It's like people take these things. You're
Well,
like,
you stole it from a church.
but it's beautiful. So yeah, we'll keep that in the studio for the moment. Maybe
might
just
just
as a joke.
Hold it here.
Oh yeah, chuck it just in front of your face.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
So,
Leave it there.
woof.
Yeah, woof.
Or nay.
Are you looking? I told you, Jarrad, that there's 3 questions that we usually record with, and then you said you promptly forgot them, which is fine. But let's start with the first question. It's really a great intro. It's a great icebreaker.
Yes.
A great potato chopper.
Salt adder.
It's a salty.
Does
addition.
anyone like chips without salt?
Oh, I think
Has
we've had a
anyone
couple
done
of
that?
people
We've
said
had
they
a
don't have
couple.
salt. You're going to cut them out of your life.
They're already gone.
They're dead to me. Well, let's ask Jarrad. How do you like to have your hot chips?
Well, I think just the classic way. I like plain salt.
Yes.
Chicken salt's okay. I used to rate chicken salt, but I think plain salt is just can't beat fat, starch, salt, and oil. It's just like such a good combo. Like it just hits the spot. Chips got to be a bit crunchy. Definitely no soggy. You can't put them in the plastic bag on the way home from the chip shop.
Oh yes.
It's a classic mistake. I made that one the other week and I forgot my ways, forgot myself, and we paid the price.
Yeah.
But just like having some chips. There's been a few establishments that have had fine chips, like K&M and Gymea.
Oh, K&M comes up so often.
Oh man, it's just iconic. There was a charcoal chicken in Gymea that used to have like. I was lamenting the other day about like how like a small chips is now like $9 when you used to get like the biggest family pack for $4.50, and it was like it would be like a $40 packet of chips or thing of chips now, but
that's all you get. That's all you get.
Cost of living.
Cost of living.
It's tough.
Was it $3? I feel like it was $3. Small chips at K&M.
K&M might have been.
That was always great.
I don't think I didn't go to K&M that often. I don't think.
Oh, okay.
I had to be introduced from people from Guymer Anglican.
And they wrapped
That's
it.
right,
They
yeah.
wrapped it in like the brown the
White paper.
white paper. So you
Yeah.
just like
It's like
split.
butcher's
If you,
paper.
if you were having an individual, like you'd
Ah.
split the top open.
Yeah, release a bit of the heat, so
Yeah.
you didn't scald your hands as you
Yeah.
went in there.
Yeah. So good.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Were you about to criticise me for not being part of Guymer?
Yeah, I was about to have it go like Kano was far too pover for Baronier Bay. Why would you ever venture to the far west of Guymer?
That was true. I mean,
when you could,
which is funny because I went to Guymer as a school.
I know, and it's like your local chip shop, right? Like,
Yeah. Oh, not really. Oh no, we didn't go far enough to K&M. That's what was funny about it. We used to go to that place called Redskins.
Oh, why isn't that there anymore? I can't think of any reason.
The only clientele was middle high school children coming to buy the cheapest burger and chip combination.
Yeah.
On a Wednesday over,
Oh,
that's when
man,
we'd go.
I completely forgot that place.
Yeah,
existed too, so that-
I can still remember it though. Like, yeah.
I remembered it because I met up with some mates from school last Friday, and we were talking about it. Like I was like, "What was that place called that we used to always go on Wednesday afternoons?" Like Redskins. He's like, "Yeah, that's right."
So good.
Because we used to finish at like heaps early on a Wednesday, like 12 something, and so we're like, "I'm not going to go home." So we'd like go down to the chip shop and then go hang out at some guy's place that lived close by. That was what we did. Anyway, back to Jarrad. Any memories about having hot chips though? Before I move on.
Chip lunch at Kirui High was always a strong memory. Both from when I attended in my high school years, but also when I used to go along with Stewie and the guy and Jai and the gang and Matt. When I was out of school, when working at Guymer, just memories of like dudes just losing. I'm actually not even losing. The Year 7 boys, they have no self control anyway. But just absolute bedlam, like just face in the church, like trying to munch on them, like just
Really?
Oh yeah, like just like seagulls have more order and civility than Year 7 boys when chips were brought along. But yeah, no, just yeah. So yeah, chip lunch was epic at Kirui High. I remember it at some points in school. There was like 100 people coming along to chip lunch, which was so mad. And I remember when I went back after I finished school for a little while, like I was like, oh man, there's only like 60 people here. Like I felt like deflated because just even though like now they'd be unreal to have 60 kids interested in coming along, but yeah, just different times. But
Speaking of chip lunch, sure that's a big part of you becoming a Christian. So can I ask, how did you become a Christian?
So I'll go on the semi-long journey.
No, this is what this podcast is about. Go on the long one, not semi.
No. I guess so. My parents weren't like active Christians. So my mum was a Christian back in the day. She's been on this pod. I'm sure you can look up Suzanne. Or Suze, however she,
I forget what episode it was, but she went by Suze, didn't she?
She's just wolf mother to me. So she she's the best. She's the best mum. She was just like it signs off like lots of love, Wolfie, or whatever, like on her birthday cards and stuff. She's awesome.
So good.
She wasn't going to church when she met my dad and they got married and but then when we were about 5 or 6, I think she's brought us along to Cronulla Baps. Went along there, didn't really like it there, but they had a kids camp, a church camp when I was about 10. And I think I can remember it was down at Deer Park Youth Works. And yeah, I remember there was I don't remember I can remember like it happening, but I don't remember like my emotions or anything during it. But yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I want to become a Christian. So I prayed then. I don't know who was there with me, but I just remember, that moment. And then we had friends that were going to Guymer Anglican. And yeah, I guess I wasn't really liking it too much at Cronulla. And I think, the friends that were going there were like, oh, might as well go to Cronulla, go to Guymer, it's our local one. And I'm really glad we did because whole life has changed because of it. Because just went there straight away. Just I already had a mate that was coming along and met a bunch of other people like Ruben, who
we need to get
going
on
along, and so we're and then a bunch of other people that. So we went along to G Team, which I don't know, has that been brought up on the pod yet?
No, I don't think it has.
Wow, I'm the first one who has been to G Team. And I think it was, just for the kind of year 4, 5 or 6 kids on Sunday mornings. And went along to Drop Zone, which was the thing for kids in year 5 and 6, done in Gummy Bay Public School. And on a Thursday afternoon
school, was it?
Yeah.
Right.
You get this massive big blue mat out and you just like drop into Drop Zone. And and I was a bit of a actually I'm not going to share that story. Anyway.
Okay.
It might not look favorably on anyway. I'll share it off air. Okay.
That's for our subscribers episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon. It doesn't incriminate me. It's more someone else that it just
I'm sure they'll appreciate you not throwing them under the bus.
Yeah, that's right. It was the 90s. So I went to Drop Zone for years 5 and 6. Kids at Gymea Bay Public School, and that was awesome too. I think that was kind of one of the times where it got me really excited to go along to youth. Right. And that was kind of a bit of a, because it was kind of functioned like a youth group, but mainly for year 5 and 6 kids, kind of like how Fuse does for kids at our church. And it got me, there was heaps of kids coming along to that. Like there was lots of games and fun and running around. I'm sure there was lots of Jesus talks and stuff as well, but
but I don't remember anything.
I think the thing that you start, I'm just reflecting on it. The things that you take away from those things is like, it is fun to be a Christian. It is fun it's fun that and you look back on it going, man, it's so amazing that people would do that and put that on for a bunch of random kids every single week on a Thursday afternoon, and want to do something to give them an opportunity, to, I guess, get to, have an opportunity to hear about Jesus. Even if necessarily the words didn't necessarily, like I'm sure they laid a bit of a ground, but I can't remember too much from the talks from them. But then when it came to time of youth group, like I was just like inviting, I don't know, so many people from school along. I was just trying to get everyone along to it because I knew how fun Drop Zone was, and then youth was like, my first night was the infamous frozen chicken bowling night, and I just for context, it's not that complicated, but there was an old hall back at Guy Anglican. Someone had this sick idea to like freeze chickens, drill holes in them, and then we would bowl with these raw frozen chickens, not cooked obviously, raw, and there was like this slick stain going down the whole wooden floors of the old hall at Guy and and it was just I was like, how am I not going to come along? Like there was just there's so many amazing nights like I can remember just from my first term, and it was pretty it just had such a vibe and such an atmosphere, and like we had 30 or 40 of my mates coming along like over the years, but just most of the guys came. I kind of feel like half my grade was at youth at one point or another. But we kind of ended up having like kind of 30 Christians in our grade by the end of year 12. Like we had like quite a big,
that's huge.
We had quite a big grade, like all at different churches, but we probably had like 6 at our church, and then there was probably like 6 or 7 at Gumby Babs, and then there's some at Helensburgh and all around the place. So it was actually pretty cool. We had a cool year group. But like, so youth was super good and had awesome leaders, who loved us heaps, and they'll feature back in a little bit later in the story. But I definitely just remember, just having a whole bunch of, leaders that really, you could tell that they were heaps good mates. It was really clear, like partly because they were like really good mates, but also you could tell the whole group, cared about each other, and it kind of made me like, want to be there, want to be part of the gang. And they always like, I don't know, my leaders were like really big on becoming mates with us, and they'd take us camping, like take us to like North Era in the national park. And there's a great story from there where my mum, I'd never been camping before, so my mum made me pack a lot. A lot
of extra stuff.
A lot of stuff. I had like pots, pans, like multiple pots and pans, climbing over this massive hill at North Era, like lugging my bodyboard and like everything along. And it was, look, I was dead by the end of the walk. And then we're collecting some firewood later on, and Ruben was like, there's a good log over there. So I started I'll take one step out onto this kind of like muddy area. I'd take one step, went down to my ankles, next step down to my knees, third step up to here in mud on the first day.
Wow.
Didn't have any spare clothes. I had pots, pants, had everything, no spare clothes. I was just freezing. So you can tell I love camping. It's what a great introduction into it. But no, we had a great time. We had a great time camping, and youth was a really cool way for us to invite a whole bunch of guys along, and heaps of people who became Christians. I had a bunch of mates that I counted when we got to Rev, which was the year 9 and 10 group. We it's that age where you're kind of 14, 15, kind of turning into 16, where I don't know, the party and drinking culture becomes a lot more prevalent and appealing. Even though Rev was still like, I don't know, like it was still a place to be. Like it was up at the factory at Waratah Street.
The venue.
The venue. That's right. That's called the venue. Like it was still heaps good. But my mates kind of started. Yeah, well, like they weren't. I don't think my mates were Christians. Like some of my mates, not Ruben and stuff, but I had another group of mates that were coming along. That weren't Christians, and so people started getting in there. I think their older brothers started getting in their ears and saying like, "Hey man, guys from church are like super lame. Like they're like a little bit sus. Like you shouldn't go along." And so they started getting in my ear, and so they stopped going along. I kind of had a decision. It was a bit of a crossroads at that point. I had a decision whether I was going to stay at youth. Like I would say I was an active Christian at this point, but not heaps mature in my faith. But I guess had to consider at that point what I wanted more. I think fitting in at that point, like when you're 15, trying to figure out what you what you want to be, and like maybe because I already had the unconditional love of the leaders and the guys at youth, like I was just like, well, I don't have to earn that, but I want the acceptance from the mates more. And so I kind of got they started like going to parties and stuff, and like I started slowly just not going along to youth, and then kind of by year 10 I don't think I was going at all anymore at that point. And I was just trying to radically pursue the vices of the teenage years, like trying to fit in was really the main thing, and trying to get approval from my mates. And they had things that would would help us, like I don't know, we were trying to see if girls thought we were attractive or appealing, or like and so there was just a bit of a competition as to like who can get girls and stuff like that. And not that we were kind of like, all right, there's not like American Pie is like, okay, but there was no like kind of like spoken thing, but there was just always like if you hadn't, you were paid out, you were bullied. Like if you hadn't had a girlfriend or hadn't kissed anyone or anything. And so there was just heaps of pressure on that sense to, I guess, to conform. I felt a strong pressure to conform, partly just because of my own insecurity about like, I don't know, like there's expectations around how you should look or how cool you should be. Like, do girls like me? Do like things like that. And as I was trying to figure out myself, I was trying to, I guess, figure out what my path in life would be, and where my place was. So I ended up trying to go to parties, started drinking, and I ended up getting glandular fever. I don't think it was from. I don't think I was not very effective and not very successful in my pursuits. So I don't think it was from. It wasn't a kissing. I didn't get it from kissing. I don't know how I got it, but
in America they call it like mono or whatever.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, that's what glandular fever is.
Oh, is it the same thing?
I think so. Yeah, because it's monos. The name of it is mono something. Anyways,
so I in about year 9 or year 10, I was kind of stopped coming along to youth at that point, or almost stopped coming along to youth. But I got glandular fever, and they kind of wiped me out for like 7 weeks of school. And I remember my mates. One of my mates sadly lost his mum, and he was like. A few of the boys were kind of like, I had to take kind of 7 weeks off school because I was so sick, and some of the boys were like, "Bro, this guy lost his mum and he's already back at school. Like, why aren't you already back at school?" And like they're just saying I was faking it, and I was feeling pretty down. Like none of them came and visited, obviously, but because they're 15-year-old guys, they're not going to think through that. But then I remember like a bunch of my youth leaders and Ruben and Jordan and a few of the guys from youth came along one night and and brought over pizzas, and we watched Point Break. Classic. But I thought it was awesome at the time, but it didn't strike me as like a moment until a little bit later on. But I remember like there was just definitely like a difference between, and I could probably see the difference pretty clearly between my mates who always set the bar like so high. And I never met that bar. I never was good enough. I was never cool enough. I felt like they go surfing without me. It's just I could never quite keep up. But then the church guys who would I don't know potentially get sick and bring over pizza and hang out with me was heaps cool. But anyway, so I was trying to pursue popularity, getting with chicks, getting drunk. I started getting like mad, not mad, like just really difficult to I was started being really mean to my little brother Keegan. I started dragging Riley away from church. Too. So my brother Riley I should probably explain. I've got two brothers. One of them's Riley. He's kind of 20 months younger than me. He's one of, I was going to say he's one of Brayden's best mates. No, that's Keegan. Keegan's one of Brayden's best mates. He's 7 years younger than me. But Riley now, pastors at church at Parramatta. So I was even able to seduce him away from church as well. Like not even, but it was. I don't think he ever really stopped coming, but like definitely was like, bro, come drinking with me and stuff like that. We used to nick our parents' alcohol and like, and just be like Deros, just like in the street going, wow, it's so hard. Like just out the front of our house and stuff. But I started like, trying to, desperately have a girlfriend and stuff. And, like it just, I think I was just getting really depressed as well. Like, I don't know if it was like I'm not going to get out of bed in the morning thing, but I was just miserable as a person, I think. Stopped studying or caring at school at all. Well, relative to me anyway. Like, I don't think I wasn't like skipping days, but I was just, I don't know. I just was not how I had been up until that point. Yeah. And I don't know, probably hormones and everything came into all that mix as well. But I was also really cruel to my little brother, and like kind of just imbibed a bit of the stuff from my mates. Like they were like pretty ruthless and pretty harsh. And so I ended up just kind of channeling that onto my little brother Keegan. I carry a lot of guilt about that, even though we've made up and reconciled a lot. But like, I don't know, I still see the effects of some of the stuff that I've said to him, and like I kind of just crushed his confidence as well. And so I was just a really kind of unpleasant. I'd say looking at what I am now and what I was then, like it would be a totally different person. But just like, me and my worst day is pleasant compared to like what I was like then. at least how I feel anyway. Maybe that's not super fair. Like maybe that's all I can remember and associate with that.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got to a point where I was going along, going to parties each week and trying to get as drunk as I could because, hey, that's the coolest thing. That's the best thing to do, right? And so I got super drunk one day, woke up I'd often be like getting drunk and hungover and stuff. And like my parents were like, you got to get your own way to work in the morning. So I worked at like 7 o'clock in the morning at Woolies in Miranda, and I'd be like running on the way there and vomiting like on the side of the road, like running, trying to get to the thing, like trying to get there to my shift. But one morning I was like too hungover for that. I was just like spewing into the toilet, just like at my worst. I had to call up the boss and say, hey mate, I've got a cold. I can't come in. And he's like, mate, like I'm ready to fire you right now, man. Like this is not acceptable. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I was just lying. I got a cold. I can't. But like, I can't come in. I was genuinely too sick to work, but that was not like, it was of my own volition. Like it was my own stupidity. I've fortunately kept that job. It was a good job. I liked it, but I was just like a bit shaken by like almost losing the job. Like my parents were pretty disappointed in me, and I kind of just went to bed just to go in a dark room because I was feeling pretty hungover. But I remember just being in my bed and just kind of going, there has to be more to life than this. Like this can't be it. Like if this is the path that you need to take to get these things, it's not worth it. There's no way this is worth it. Like I'm so miserable. And I was like, I don't know what made me do it, but I was like, just God, if you're there, like, please bring me back to church. And I was actually just remembering just like how much like those guys love me. And, it was like the guys who came around and watched Point Break with me. It actually became like this beacon of hope. Cause I was so miserable with my mates. And so, I think, it just became clear that I wasn't good enough and I probably wasn't ever going to be good enough for them.
Those standards.
And I, just remembered that like those guys they came over and loved me even when I had already stopped coming along to youth. I wasn't investing in them in any way. And, they would just, do a love bomb. Like, and it was another thing we used to say, like bombs usually destroy. I think Fee came up with it, but bombs usually destroy, but love bombs like just explode with love. And it's, I felt like it was a really nice and awesome thing to do. And it was one of the reasons I called out to God that day. So I was like, God, please bring me back. I want to come back. And I hadn't talked to Ruben for about 2 years or so, like not actively anyway. Like we hadn't been texting or anything. To my memory, and like he just kind of texted me out of the blue that day or the next, and he was like, hey man, we're starting up a Bible study, like just wondering if you wanted to come along. And I was just absolutely like just astonished. Like sometimes you get immediate answers to prayer, sometimes you don't, but that one was like an immediate answer and just such a cool reminder. Well, now I look back at it, it's like such a great reminder that God answers your prayers, especially when you come to him and you ask, like he answers your prayers anyway, but like when you get answered with a yes with that one, it just is such a nice reminder of how, if you call out to him, like, and you want, and you desire a relationship with him, like he'll like he's there, he'll make ways, he'll answer. And so I started coming along to Bible study with my leaders. We went to Ruben's back, like the Raj, if any, some of us may know the Raj. It was his garage at the back of his house, but they kind of kitted out with like lounges and stuff, and that was amazing. We just went through Philippians. I think the first one was we went through Philippians 1, and became like Philippians 1:21 became my life verse for ages. There was actually kind of like there wasn't like a chalk and cheese moment between my life at that point and after. But I remember like reading that, and that was the first verse that I ever remember reading, going like, man, that is what life's about. Like to live is Christ and to die is gain. Yeah. And it was the first verse that just made so much sense to me. And that's kind of how I felt like I wanted to live my life. But I still had my feet in two kind of camps. Like I started coming back to church. I think maybe like for a little bit before, And now that I reflect on it, I think a little bit before my parents had started to see the trajectory I was going on, they're like, you have to go to church. And I was like, this is unfair. This is against my rights. Like I was like doing all the
prison.
This is like, you can't
How
push
old
this
were
on
you
me.
though? Can I just check?
Like,
how old you were
I
at
was
this time?
year 11. So
Okay.
or 16.
Okay.
Almost 17 or something. But yeah, I was just about to start year 12 when this happened, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, it was at my mate's 17th where I got massively trashed.
Right.
I remember like, I had mud on my shoes, and his parents were like, Jarrad, don't walk up the carpenter's staircase with your shoes. I was like, oh, okay. Stomp. And just climbed up the stairs. Apparently, I don't remember it, but I was just being a tool. But I never would ever have thought of, I would have gone, oh, yeah, sure thing. No. But I was just being a tool. But yeah, so I started coming along. I just maybe started coming like to church before then, but like I was just like, who are these losers? Like I thought people at church were the lamest people on planet Earth. I was like, look at the way they sing. Like it's so cringy. Like I get so into it.
You're still like that now.
I can be a little bit like that. No. Even though I'm like, yes, Lord. I can be a little bit, a little bit cynical. I still carry a few of those old scars. I think they did form a bit of my personality. But yeah,
I do too. I'm pretty cynical.
Yeah, and but after I kind of had that moment where God brought me back, my whole perspective on it changed a lot because I no longer was like going along to something I didn't want to go to. I was like going there because I wanted to go to church now. But I remember going along for probably about a year or so, and because I was kind of like this, I hadn't gone to youth for a while. I wasn't really I didn't really feel like I belonged there. Like I had my mates who came along. But I didn't really feel like I was part of the whole gang because I wasn't going along to Solly's at that point. I was still going to parties, but I did change friendship groups, and that was heaps helpful. Like still mates with those guys, and like my whole life started making massive direction towards like in a positive direction. But I think it still took all of year 12 before I actually noticed there was like a distinct change in my whole outlook on life. I think I was still going between two worlds. I was still trying to get a girlfriend, had a girlfriend for a bit. It wasn't really a relationship though. It was just like a box. It was like ticking a box, but like I was just trying to pursue that sort of stuff. But I don't know what else to recap from that year, but like I was still drinking every now and then, but increasingly going like, I just don't want to do this. It just reminds me of the old days. And so it came to the point where we were just about to finish year 12. And this is the other kind of important moment in my life, but we kind of just finished year 12 or just about to finish year 12, just about to sit our HSC exams. I'd been coming along to Bible study probably every week on a Friday night. And unless there was a good party on, classic teenage thinking that's like not super locked in. And there was like the discussion of like who wants to become a youth leader. So we were all going to the Bible study, and we had this thing called the manual, which was basically it got rebranded to a commitment to love, and it was basically outlining all the things that if you wanted to be a youth leader, this is the sort of lifestyle and the sort of like things that you're committing to, the things that you're going to commit to as a Christian and commit to as a youth leader, because we set the bar pretty high at Soul Revival for what a youth leaders would commit to. And from looking back on it, I'm like, I'm not sure why I was invited along to this meeting. Maybe because I had like a legacy of like, I used to come along to youth group and I'd been coming along to church again, but I don't really I don't know why I was necessarily invited along. But I remember at that meeting.
Is the one at Gomez in People's Church? The manual?
No, I was at Red Eye at Alpha and Wilmer's, now Jai's house downstairs where Matt and Lauren used to live.
Oh, for senior high.
Yeah, for senior high. But Yeah, maybe it was before senior high because maybe that was happening, but my youth leaders were doing something different. I'm not sure. We read it, and some of the things in there were like all the things you expect about like being committed to being a Christian, reading your Bible, stuff like that. I was like, yeah, that's cool. But then they came to the things where I had to make a kind of crossroads. It was like you committing to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night every week, and particularly every week of the school term. You're committing to not having a girlfriend in the year below you, or like that's at school or whatever. So I was just about to finish school, so like there was just committing to like, because as a leader you can't be dating someone if you're not already dating her. You can't go and date someone that's
in youth group.
In youth group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I was about to be 18, so that's off the cards anyway. But then also not committing to not having a non-Christian girlfriend, and people might disagree whether they're fair rules, but for me they were a lifeline. Those commitments were a lifeline to me because they were kind of the things that were getting in the way of me actually fully committing to becoming a Christian, or not become a Christian, to living an active and devoted life to Jesus, where it would be kind of exclusively for him, or in a certain sense, or it would at least be stepping up in a dramatic way, because there'd be no longer, like a foot in both camps. It
Yeah,
would
it was
kind
like
of
the
only
things that were still tying you back to where you were,
yeah,
as opposed to where you were heading. Hopefully.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And yeah, I had to kind of make a decision at that point, like whether I was going to commit to this youth leading life, or maybe just do something else and just go to Bible study and do church or do music or something like that as well. But I look back on youth group and I was like, how could I not do youth group? Like, it was the greatest, like, because I'm already a Christian at this stage, I'm remembering how good youth group was. And I just wanted to make youth group great again. No, I wanted to make youth group awesome for and give back, like, and create
create those memories you had. For
yeah, that's right. Yeah. So like, we did a lot of the nights that we did chicken bowling first time I was in there. We did like pool of jelly, all the things that but what was it? Horizontal bungee, where you would have an ocky strap or something tied to a pole, and you'd slide on the slip and slide as far as the bungee cord would get you, and then you'd go all the way back. So we did all those things. But yeah, I had a decision to make, and I just was like, for me, it was a lifeline. Like I didn't have the discipline, I didn't have something to give up those things for. Aside, like I'm not something big enough. Like there's always like, oh yeah, I'll give it up for that. I'll give it up for like, oh, I shouldn't do that. Oh, but when it's like, you can't be a leader unless you do those things. I was like, well, if I want to be a leader, I want to be a leader so bad that I want to give up those things. And so actually from that point on, I didn't have alcohol for probably like 15 years after that. Like I didn't kind
of remove the grey area.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. It did. I stopped pursuing all relationships and all contact with, I guess, a lot of my non-Christian girls I was chatting to. Like it was kind of like it was pretty extreme. Like, and I started going to Soli's every week, which was like the Saturday night thing for people in year 10 and above. And then I rock up to youth group that first week. And standing across from me is Joel and Greaves and Chris Stevens, and they're like, I rock there with Ruben. I'm not even sure if Ruben came, because I think he was studying for the I was like, stuff HSC. He's better. Like,
oh, really?
Ruben was like, no, Ruben wanted to. He took a couple of days off to study. That's fair. No diss. But I was just like, maybe a little shade. No shade. I was a frantic studying mess, and so for me, youth group was like a release from like studying like a maniac. So youth group was like going and leading youth was like, oh, this is so good to not like I want to stop. I don't want to do any more study. I can't study at Friday night.
Yeah,
who studies on a Friday night? And so I rock up there, and Joel and Grease are like, who is this guy? Like, never seen him before. Like, literally never seen him. Or maybe
it's the same. We were the same.
Yeah, no, that's what you guys were thinking. Yeah. Like, I'd seen you guys because, you guys are in the big group and you kind of just see this dude on the periphery of stuff, but you wouldn't have had a friendship or anything with me. And
I remember at a blah when we were like, which is where we used to chat about leading youth group, and because we didn't start doing it until 2 years after we finished high school, and they're like, oh yeah, Jarrad and Pete is thinking about will be probably leading with you guys. We're like, who are they? I feel like it was weird because it was at Miranda Anglican for some reason, and it's Luke's. I remember in their kind of
that's what
meeting
we used to do,
area,
yeah.
And me and Michael like, who's that? Because Chris has been our youth leader,
yeah.
So he was going to lead, like, kind of coordinate above us and help us be better youth leaders.
Yeah.
Whether that was true or not. But then we're like, oh, who are they? And then, we met you. It was pretty much the first night of Salt leading, right?
Oh, yeah. I remember, I think Chris Stevens was wearing like just classic Chris Stevens. I think he was wearing a Fred Flintstone, just tunic.
He does have that outfit.
Yeah. And I was like, who are these guys? But yeah, it was the start of a new chapter for me, and a chapter I haven't looked back from, and I feel like I've only gone from strength to strength from there. But I guess I've had seasons, but yeah, really and I haven't stopped doing youth since then. It was 18 years ago or something now, and so
probably same with Greaves actually.
Yeah, Greaves and I have been leading youth together for 17, 18 years in different capacities and stuff. But and so life started becoming pretty cool from there on. I think I started going to a lot of solis, but it wasn't until this is another kind of seminal moment for me. I was going along but not necessarily connecting with anyone yet, and it wasn't until Riley, my brother, I think they were starting up this thing called just praying at Old School Park after after church. So we used to go to this random park and just go and pray, and some weeks we'd have 3 or 4 people, other weeks we'd have 30, and we'd just be praying in the dark. I remember the police came along going, what's going on one day? But for me, that was just a massive to a whole friendship group that were a massive friendship group at church, but I hadn't yet connected with. So people like Michael Gray and Haley, who is now my wife. Michael Gray is my husband.
Sometimes, bro. That's true. That's probably true. It's true.
I was at his house last night. It was so good,
especially before he moved away.
Fully. We went and visited last night. It was so good.
Awesome.
Yeah. And
because they just had a baby.
Yeah, just cool. Met baby Cole.
Yeah.
So a whole bunch of dudes like Justin and Dane. And there's Paul Terry and there was just a massive squad going down there, and it was, for me, it kind of maybe because Riley has always been a pretty huge influence on my, especially after I was I'm going to do youth group. Riley from that point on became a massive a massive inspiration to me. He was my younger brother, but now was the one I looked up to. Because he was kind of leading the way in a lot of ways at church, in a lot of things. I remember there was one time I'd finished my first semester of uni, so probably 6 months later, I finished my first semester of uni. I was like, I can't wait to play video games for the whole holidays, 7 weeks. I just got this is the only thing holding me going during university. It was a bit of a trial by fire university, but I was just hanging out for it. And we went out to a river convention at Colarinda Bray, where we went and visited some of the Aboriginal Christians that we have friendships with at our church. And at Dubbo having lunch, and I was talking to Riley about how much I wanted to do it, and he's in year 12, and he goes, Jarrad, I think you might be making an idol of video games. I think you should have a fast. I think we should both have a fast from media and video games for 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
I was like, bro.
One of those things where you're right. And I hate that you're right. And I hate that you thought of that.
So him in school, fine, that's cool. Wow, what a cosseted existence to not do things when you got to go home and study and then just not watch TV for half an hour. Whoa, that's tough. But then I'm 8 hours at home doing nothing. And so what I ended up doing is I did it, and I ended up kind of deciding I wanted to go and listen to every sermon from John Piper's Romans 8, which is about 50. He did 50 sermons
forever, right?
Yeah, he did Romans 8 for 7 or 8 years or something, but he did one entire year on Romans Romans 8. And I remember just listening to every one of those sermons. And I felt like I went to Bible college. Like, it was just unreal. Like, it was amazing. Just because Romans 8 is so rich and deep, and it just goes. He brings in like lots of different parts of scripture into each sermon, and like the 4 sermons on like there's no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Then I mean, I could quote half of it, but like the Romans 8:28 then became like the new life verse, like God will work all things together for the good of those who love him, for those who are called according to his purpose. And I started to see how that like really started to manifest itself in life. And I could really see how it's true, but it's also kind of been really strong through some of the adversities that I've gone through in my life since then, just kind of knowing that God is working all things for good. And I remember reading a book about George Muller, who was this really faithful Christian, a German Christian who lived in England and set up these orphanages, and he wrote down his prayers, and the autobiography is basically just his prayer journal and just reflections on what answered prayers happened. And he had one moment where his wife had passed away when he was about 85 or something. And he's like, I'm filled with grief and filled with so much sadness and remorse, but I'm so comforted to know that if it was better for me that my wife would be alive, she'd be alive. And that, was just like such radical faith. Like, if you take nothing else from this, read George Muller's autobiography. It's like the best, like so cool. It's short, but if you want to know the power of prayer, read that. It's like just amazing. That changed my prayer life. That was the biggest influence on my prayer life for sure. But yeah, that whole mentality of like, that whole truth of God working all things together for your good, has just helped to contextualize so much of the suffering that I haven't gone through heaps of suffering, but when I've gone through times where things have been hard, like my wife's got chronic health issues, and it's just in weaker moments you can kind of wonder why things like that are happening. And just if it was for my better that Haley would be well, then she'd be well. And if it's for her better, and like it's a hard truth to reconcile, but I think that's one of the beautiful things about God is that like you're not guaranteed to have easy truths. Like they're like sometimes reconciling the things, and I don't have the mind of God. Who am I to say what's best and what's right? I just got to sit in submission of His sovereignty and omniscience, like to know what is best for us. Anyway, people might disagree with the take on it, but I don't know. I feel pretty at least comforted knowing that He's working all things together for my good and for our good, a collective good, which is awesome too. So that was a bit of a game changer going through all of that. And old school. And then I got connected in with all that group, and I actually found I had like a bit of extra purpose with going along to church. It was actually not because I was a bit like 1 year older than a lot of the guys, but they became my friendship group, and just walking and doing life together with them became so cool. And it was just this massive, big, open friendship group. Like there was this one infamous summer where I think we spent of the 30 days between like December 15 when they finished school or whatever until February 1 or whatever, like 40 days or whatever. I reckon we probably spent 25 of them or 30 of them together, hanging out at each other's houses. And like Riley in particular, but like we'd be like, it'd be a wasted opportunity if we weren't spending our time reading and praying. Like, so that a lot of the time was actually just spent reading and praying, and people playing board games were like, nah, it's too soft for us. Like, Riley's so hardcore.
We're so holy.
Yeah, he's so holy. But it feels like every time I hang out with Riley anyway now, it's all we do is talk about like the gospel and church and mission and all sorts of stuff. So like he's just so on fire for Jesus that like it just consumes him, and it just is infectious. When you have someone like that in your life, that it just kind of sets the culture of a whole group of people. And I know from that group, like half of them are like either planting churches, running churches. Like it's just a solid group of all really key people within their churches, like coordinating heaps of ministries and stuff. And it was just a really magical time where, like life just totally changed for me from kind of, I was a totally different person kind of by the end of my first year uni, having gone to youth like every week and gone to Soli's, had like a friendship group that were like super on fire, praying at Old School Park, getting up at the crack of dawn to ride our bikes to men's breakfast every morning, like at 7 or 5:30 in the morning in winter, like just like wearing balaclavas, like riding around the streets, and old ladies like walking the doors going, like, what the hell's going on? Like just these two dudes wearing balaclavas because it was so damn cold. But yeah, we just everything we could do at church, we'd go and clean the toilets. So we'd just do everything we could. That was Riley's idea. Like he was like, we were trying to raise money to get a youth minister, and Riley's like asked like, how much do we spend on cleaners a year? And they're like 17 grand. He's like, that's a youth minister. Like we could, Jarrad, you and I can just do that. And so we ended up just cleaning the toilets and being able to afford. Eventually, I kind of ended up paving the way for me to be able to work at church, which was kind of cool. Like I didn't think I was like, I wasn't doing it so that I could get a job there, but it turned out that it was kind of my wage for the first year of working at church as well, which was sick. I'm kind of scooting all over the place, but it was so cool. And then I ended up, I don't know how much of the story you want me to keep going along, but ended up meeting. I might share the Haley story. This is funny.
Okay, sure.
So I think I had just started coming along to Soli's, maybe 1 or 2 weeks, and I randomly chatted to this girl on MSN Messenger. I didn't know her, and I was just like, I was going to chat to this chick, whatever. And Haley was friends with her and having a sleepover at their house. I was like, hey, how you guys going? This is what you do in the 90s. This is weird.
It's
maybe
weird.
only I did this in the 2000s, but yeah, maybe
I remember doing that in high school.
Yeah, in high school. You just
find random people and chat to them.
Chat to them. Yeah,
like I can't believe we actually did that.
I know, it's so weird. Like you don't even know what they look like. You're just like,
ASL, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I feel like I could justify myself now, but like I got the contact from a friend who was friends with her anyway, so right. It wasn't totally random. But anyway, so I started chatting with her, and then we were chatting to all three of them, and they were like, "Oh, what do you do on the weekend?" I was like, "Oh, I go to this church, go to Guymer." And then Haley was like, "I go to there too." I'm like, "What?" We found out that we both went to Soli's and we didn't know each other anyway. So we started chatting. Like we chatted until 1 or 2 o'clock that morning. Next morning, morning after. Then a whole week at 11. Maybe started chatting on
MSN?
Sunday. Yeah. All on MSN. We were just like chatting on MSN. Obviously, you can't talk in person. It was crazy.
That'd be wild.
And then we were like excited. We're going to catch up at Soli's. And Soli's at that point was not at the venue anymore. We were in the wilderness. In the time where we didn't have a venue, so we were going to the girls' house, the mansion at Cronulla. I don't know if I need to explain heaps of context so people, regular listeners will know the mansion.
This was a house that was due to be demolished, and then a lot of girls lived there, like 4. Yeah, at least 4 girls were renting that out.
And like we'd have 150 people coming over for late night.
It was a huge house
for Soli's. Anyway, so we arrived there, and I'd been playing like soccer or something.
Like in the backyard.
Yeah, in the backyard also. Maybe we were down at Shelley Oak Park, and then we walked around anyway. So I was a sweaty mess. As any of you who know me, I can sweat. And so Haley arrives. We've only seen kind of pictures of each other, and we see each other, and we both were like, oh. Like I was like a sweaty mess. I don't know what my qualm was, but I don't know. Like
you were just like totally like, oh, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah, I know. I was like, this is amazing. Yeah, yeah. So we went out and caught up. But what we discovered in the when we were kind of chatting and stuff is that we actually really enjoyed being mates with each other, even if we were kind of a little bit. Even if physical attraction wasn't necessarily there at the start, I don't know why. It's crazy now. I'm so attractive. I don't know why. Haley's beautiful. I don't know why I wasn't. I was a fool.
I think it's just more you building something up in your mind to what the actual truth was.
That's right. And I ended up. We kind of ended up chatting for like we were in the same circle of friends for ages, but she was She was. I don't know if she was I don't think she was a Christian at this point, but she'd only been invited along because she went to Catholic church. Do I need to? I'm sharing Haley. I'll get Haley on. She can explain her story.
But the funny thing was that my sister and Haley were friends at school.
That's true. That's true.
Anyway, keep going.
Before we even knew each other. So it's and Gray and Haley have known each other since they were
that's right.
They were kids. Like at Gray was the best man at my wedding, and there's a good story. It was like opens up his best man speech and says, "Jarrad, I don't know how to tell you this, but I've seen Haley naked."
I remember that.
Because they had bars together when they were like one.
When he sat down, just go, Michael Gray, everyone. What a perv. That's one of my favourite MC moments. Yeah. Just to do that. Just throw him
a classic.
Yeah.
But Joel was MC at our wedding.
He does unreal speeches.
He does. And so he invited her along, and Haley's first night was like she got ice blocks at church, and she went to Catholic church and was like, there were no ice blocks at St. Pat's Catholic Church. Oh, no way. She was like, what is this? Like, she found an oasis. Like, it's great. Like, but she just, I won't share her story. But anyway, she was coming along, but she wasn't super committed to, like, she was only coming on Saturday night, never came to Friables, also Stibles or anything.
Which is at senior high
Bible study.
That's what it's called, yeah.
Yeah. And, but then that magical summer, I spent 25 days in a lot of proximity with Haley, and it dawned on me one day when she was like, guys, I feel like we're not reading and praying enough. I was like, oh man, hold me back.
My heart
Cupid
just melted.
struck that arrow so hard.
That's when it transferred from Riley to Haley.
Yeah, that's right. Riley's like, well, would he just like, I've been replaced. No, so I was like, no, this is the girl. And she was not interested in me. She was interested in someone else in the group.
Tell us that off there.
Yeah, and she had to be told in strict terms, this guy does not like you. Jarrad likes you. And she's like, oh, okay.
Oh, damn it.
All right, damn it. Because I was like losing sleep over it. And just like, I was like besotted. Like, yeah. Because we'd been kind of like liking each other, not knowing each other, liked each other all year. But she was kind of like, because I kind of pulled back as soon as it became a youth leader. I couldn't really chat to her much anymore because she was in year 12, and so like she was off limits.
Right.
And she was like, why isn't he chatting to me anymore? So she was a bit cut up about that. I was like, I couldn't explain to her. Like she was all these unspoken things. Anyway, as soon as she became out of school, it was like game on. No, it wasn't. It was just like, and then I got a haircut. Actually, that was the game changer for her. I had this stupid long hair. I looked like a fool.
No, it
and I got a haircut,
and
like I was wearing this coral t-shirt, and she was like, "Ooh!" Like the equation shifted. So
I loved your long hair. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, thanks. It was. This is the first generation of long hair. It was not as cool as the second generation.
Oh, okay.
But the the long hair. I love my long hair now. It's so good.
I just used to imagine you like always like in a rough, like you're like on guard.
Oh,
your hair.
that'd be the dream.
That's what it fitted really
like
well
a
with
fencing
that.
pro. No, so anyway, so we ended up kind of started dating like towards the end of, or to the start of February actually. So it was just kind of after like the like people started going back to school or something like that. So like because a whole bunch of the guys that were hanging out were like in new school. Like my Riley was still in year 12 and stuff. So anyway, so started dating Haley, and that was unreal as well. And together with her now, and married, got a kid, Ezra, got another one on the way, due in August. So
Can I ask you a rewind question? It's going back to when you were talking about the commitment to love and stuff, and how that was like a real moment for you. And also even when you were saying like Riley's like, you need to fast from video games for seven weeks. Why does that black and white thing work for you? That's what it seems. It's a great
question. I'm a pretty I can be a little bit polarizing as a person, I think, and I'm a pretty like all or nothing sort of guy. So I think that maybe that's just the thing for me. I think I've always found it really difficult to figure out the ambiguity in the grey. I think the older I get, the easier I'm able to see nuance. But particularly in my younger years, there was like, it was kind of an all or nothing sort of thing in how I saw things. I was pretty extreme. As you saw, I kind of like went, oh, I'm not going to drink anymore. Boom, no drinking for 10 or 15 years. Like it just was like, it was a bit like that with me. There's obviously things that haven't been as black and white but I don't know what it is about that. Maybe it's just like I've got ADD, so maybe it's just part of that. Like just sorry, ADHD. I've got that extra hyperactive edge.
The extra H.
Extra H. Yeah.
Put in an H.
Put it in
Put
H.
a H in it.
Put it in H.
I love that Simpsons clip. Put it in H.
The country it was made in no longer exists.
But
where do you think that comes from? The black and white.
I would hazard a guess that my father would have something to do. I don't know, is that where you're leaning? My dad's pretty.
I love your dad.
All or nothing. Classic Peter Spring quote: "The only good dog is a dead dog." He had a dog. He's remarried recently. He had a dog. He loved the thing to death. Like he was never allowed in the house. Oh no. But like when it passed away, he was shuttered, just a shuttered man.
Yeah.
But he only knew the dog for like 5 years or so, 4 or 5 years. But he was I don't know. Is all or nothing.
Can you do those quotes that he does, like with like the towel on the floor and stuff?
I should just read my my speech I gave at his wedding. Oh my
that would have been. I wish I was there for that.
Oh my god,
that would have been so good.
The man with the heart of a silverback gorilla, and with the appearance to match it too. Like there's so many great memes.
Because he always just had those random.
Oh yeah, he'd be like. I'll phrase it how I did in the speech. Dad was always so good with giving us just the words to say to inspire us to obedience, and give us that extra like warm and enlightening feeling. He'd be like, if you put a hole in that wall, I'm going to put a hole in your face. Like, if you don't pick up your towel, I'm going to put it in a slow burning incinerator.
Yeah, the slow burning incinerator is what I always remember.
Jarrad, when did we get a maid? Why is your towel on the ground? Like, yeah.
That's awesome.
Often not as aggressively as that. Which
no,
it would be kind of even funnier.
Yeah, no, he would probably be like, if you put a hole in that wall, I'm going to put a hole in your face. Like, just like,
when did we get a mate?
When would be his brother would often like close the boot, and he had a thing about like the boot closing, and his
too loud.
Yeah, Jarrad, Brayden's brother would like close the boot, and like Jarrad would like, and Jarrad would get in and be like. He'd be like, good work, mate. Are you sure it's closed? Sarcastically. And Jarrad would be like, I'll go and check, Mr. Spring. Whack! And just belt. He's hard to be like, thanks, mate. That was awesome. So I think I got a little bit from my dad. My mum also can be a little bit like all or nothing as well with stuff. But she's a lot more nuanced than my dad, I think. Yeah, right. Sorry, Dad.
No, don't apologise. It's fine. Is that because you spent a lot of time at the Spring household, Brayden?
Yeah.
Is that your experience of the?
Was
there really a slow burning incinerator?
No, he said, I was like, a slow burning incinerator, Dad, and he was like, got to keep you on your toes. You've got to keep coming up with new ones.
Peter is one of my favourite people in the world.
He's amazing.
My memory was there was a time for a little while where he was in between jobs.
Oh yeah,
and so he was home always.
Yeah,
and so like
right.
we would be there. Like, after school, and he would be there, and lots of fun.
Yeah. I remember getting home once. Like,
Chores.
I've told this story a few times.
Yeah, he made it. Yeah.
This is a great one for the pod. But I remember driving home, getting in the garage, and I saw Brayden and his brother Jarrad, like hands red raw, like defrosting the freezer. Like, so because Dad would have like, here, just like, come and help out. Like, And I was like, where the hell's Keegan? He was like luxuriating, watching telly, or like eating chips or something. I don't know if he was actually doing that, but he might have been just in the bathroom for a few minutes. But all I saw was, and my first thought was like classic Keegan not helping out, and Brayden and Jarrad going like, not being able to say no, being so polite, doing so lovely, going like, yeah, sure, we'll help out, and Keegan going like, no, I'm not doing that.
Defrosting the freezer.
With a chisel. And like just getting the ice out of the freezer. Like,
I thought you'd be like doing the washing up and defrosting the freezer.
That's so good.
That's like a deep clean.
Yeah. It's like I didn't even do that. Like,
it's so funny.
That's why it's so funny. Right, come on, boys. And it's like because you're twins as well.
Yeah,
You're just like,
got like freaking the red hairs, like their hairs like pretty like premature frostbite. Like they don't have gloves on. They just had to like do it with their brow. No, they might have had gloves. I don't know, but
I don't remember, but yeah, it's so fun.
I can't help laughing. That's so funny. So
this good?
we are we do seem to be running out of time. So definitely at least a part 2 is on the cards.
Yeah.
But Jarrad, you have something to present on the podcast. This is going to be the beginning or the actual rebrand of Chip Lunch. Chip Lunch stays the same. We should make that clear. Stays the same. We're still interviewing Christians. Nothing else about.
I've got a tagline for you. It's great.
The look is changing. So we haven't seen it.
I don't think we actually talked about it. Jarrad is a graphic designer, just in case you didn't know.
Yeah, we've got to get to that.
At Hello
What
Studios.
Yes.
We're skipping ahead, but
Yeah.
let's get back.
If you
later.
need anything designed, contact Hello Studio.
Yeah.
Promote those
Do an
things.
awesome job.
But we haven't seen it.
No.
So we're about to open it.
Yeah.
I'm going to open it. I'm going to present it to you.
Okay.
I'm just thinking that like the video with the kid where he's like opening up a Christmas present. He's like, an avocado. Thanks.
You can imagine if we hate it.
It's just like,
Yeah, you might. There's definitely a chance.
That's sick.
Hold
Yeah,
it with the soft
thanks.
hands. This is a momentous
I think you
occasion.
guys will vibe it.
After this is episode 122.
Oh, is it?
Oh, that says hello.
Okay.
Yeah. This is just the preface page. So, idea for it is for it to be kind of fun, bold. You guys, it's okay.
It's so funny that we're still holding
Yeah,
hands.
I know, it's so good. Just fun, bold. Have a bit of a fast food flavor.
With the chippies.
A little bit, just a tiny bit, but also like because it's got chip lunch in there. But it's also kind of I won't say much more. Anyway, so big and bold. So got big old chip lunch, and then stories of Jesus changing everything.
That is pretty good.
I do love that.
I do
Excellent.
like that.
And so I'll just kind of fang through it.
That's cool.
Oh, there's Brayden.
That's me.
Oh, styling up.
Jarrad, I
Brayden-
can't not be in
Yeah.
an annual.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm just. Brayden just is just such a great model for when we put all the. I've got salt must be salty, kind of quoting Matthew 5 there,
Yep.
and
Very
chips
nice.
need salt. So I was
100%.
just connecting up the philosophical ideas of no, I don't know if I was just kind of creating philosophical ideas between why it's called chip lunch and like being salty but then that's why I asked earlier like what strange people watch chimps without salt, like surely no one.
Yes, must
And
be
it's
salt
like,
of the earth, man.
That's right. Just some more just vibe things. I was thinking this could be like the YouTube thumbnails, like where you kind of got like the person in the middle, RIP, but
It's like that. It's Ethan.
yeah, but
Still me, Ethan, all right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's fine.
That's cool.
And then or you could have an alternative one where it's kind of got like if you did a photo of the person, like just like you could just do like a photo of the person or like a photo of the gang doing like an actual still for it.
Yeah. I really like the color.
Podcast art, yeah, I do too. It's kind of got a nostalgic kind of like. I was trying to channel a bit of like the chip lunch is for us like a nostalgic thing, or for those who went to Curry High or went to Gomie High, it's like it's a nostalgic thing.
Yeah, it is.
Just some like the general logo, and then I just drew like this is a very much like a little like sticker idea, or like you put this on a sticker, or like I've been on the Chip Lunch podcast, or like just something fun.
When we
But
give our
I
drink
might get
bottles.
you to draw some chips that are better, but I was just drawing some quick ones yesterday. But yeah, sort of got so far for the Chip
What do
Lunch
you
pod.
reckon?
I really
Yeah,
like it.
I like the fast food vibes.
Yeah,
like it
yes,
fits
yeah.
with the chips.
That one
that's really
especially.
fun.
Yeah, I like
the
it.
black
It's
and white.
yeah.
It looks
Yeah, it does look cool.
cool. I thought it'd be bold, but it's capture a bit of fun.
No, it's
if
fun.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a shift away from our pink and blue look, but it might be time for
I
that.
like the change. We're all about moving forward here.
We're about moving forward.
right. And I promise
while
that
looking at the past.
I wouldn't come on the pod until I'd done the branding of it, because I've done the branding for like everything at Solval. So I'm just going to spread my web over everything. So I refuse.
It's pretty
to,
cool though.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I like it.
Oh, thanks guys.
I also like, do you know that the other thing is that when you see a rebrand at first, you're a little bit like, oh, I'm not sure. And then you start to
new
like
brand?
it. But as you start, that's a good design. That's what I was.
Oh, like when you're not ready for it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
Remember
right. That's right. I usually have done a mood board with someone before, and so they're kind of expecting what I'm about to show them. So this is you guys are entering cold. So
I like that though. I like
But
being.
you guys got a lot of trust in me, so I appreciate it.
100%.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, totally.
Well, stoked.
Yeah, so we should thank you, Brayden. Thank you for appreciating it. Thank you for holding my hand through that time.
You guys got through it. You got through it. It's a big change.
No, it's fine.
Do we change the thumbnail for this episode,
Or for
or does
Jarrad?
it start for
I-
next episode?
It starts for my episode.
It starts for your episode.
I'm not giving the assets until my episode's coming up.
That's better be. I need it for next Friday. Then that's when it's coming.
All right, well, I can get it done. It's ready to go.
I know you can. Yeah, that's sick. Thank you.
Cool.
What was I going to say? We're going to definitely need to do a part 2.
Yeah,
for sure.
Totally.
Because we really only have just started.
Well, we've got to like 2010
maybe the first third of your life.
2000
maybe.
Nah, 8.
No, bit around that
2008.
time.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we've got a while ago.
Yeah, we've got that, but that's a good thing. Not a
Yeah.
bad thing.
Yeah.
16 years of content.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
We got the beginning of Jarrad, and
We
we'll
kind of did half my life, I guess.
Yeah. We got up to Haley.
Yeah.
We got up to so that's the
It'd be
mark.
so funny if the next pod starts like 3 minutes long. I'm like, oh yeah, and then I've just been doing ministry since then. It's been cool.
So that's part 2, and then part 3 is like heaps longer. Yeah, but it's been awesome having you on for the moment, Jarrad.
Yeah. Thanks, heaps, guys.
We will be having you back. Thank you to everyone that's listening and watching. Thank you for the podcast art. Be looking for that, guys, because that's coming. That's coming out.
Coming
this
in hot.
episode. Coming in hot.
Yeah.
They'll
Got a
see
bit
it.
of- got a bit
They'll
of
see
salt
it
with it.
before. They'll
They'll
actually see it before it's actually been presented. So that's very, very cute. Very cute. Cool. You guys are all cuties. Thanks for listening. You too.
You okay?
You too. You too. You two are 2 cuties as well. We're finished with a one-way.
Yeah. One way.
One way.
That was
Which
awesome.
camera was I supposed to look at with the one way?
Did you go that one?
I went that one.